So now we're going to talk a little bit of numbers. We're going to stay on this for a couple minutes. I will set the stage. This is going to be a 50-year-old male. We're going to assume healthy. We did illustrate at second best risk class. A lot of 50-year-olds are still getting that best risk class, that those ultras, the premium risk classes. But to kind of give a fair comparison, we're doing second best. They're doing that $8K a year for 19 years. I chose 8,000 because at 50, that is the maximum amount that you can contribute into a Roth IRA. So to kind of compare an apples to apples, I matched the IUL to that. Once again, the IUL can do much more than that 8K, but if we're looking at what would happen with that first 8,000, this gives you that comparison. And the Roth IRA was calculated at a 6.5% return every year with 1% fees. So the initial death benefit, and this once again plays in the favor of an IUL as a Roth IRA alternative, or in conjunction with the Roth IRA. You're getting that 103,000 of death benefit, whereas the Roth IRA, you're basically getting in exactly what you put in. The client puts in 8,000 and they pass 3 months later. What's passing on is that 8,000, where the same scenario with the IUL, they're actually going to have a death benefit to pass on. Death benefit at 68, which is that last year that contributions are being made, you're going to see that the IUL still has a higher death benefit, 373,000 versus the 269. It still has roughly that 104,000 initial death benefit difference, because the two products have grown relatively the same, kind of under the hood over that time frame. The client's still going to enjoy that additional death benefit protection that the IUL gave. The cash value you'll see at age 68, in this particular example, the IUL slightly beat it. These numbers on most cases you're going to do are going to be similarly close. $1,000 when you're talking about $270,000 is a small percentage. So they're roughly in line with each other when income starts. So we're going to show income for 20 years, which is your typical income solve on an IUL. And that income showed 24,493. So we're going to take the same amount out of the Roth every year. What you'll notice as a difference is over that 20 years, there's $489,860 of total income that was paid on the IUL. That's income for all 20 years. With only 381,000. And the reason for that is the full income stops at age 83 for the Roth IRA, with 13,000, a little over 13,000, almost 14 for that final distribution. And then the account is drained to zero. Now, one of the reasons for that is the way that crediting and the structure of an IUL versus the Roth IRA works. Simple terms, I'm not trying to speak down on everybody, but the way that the Roth IRA works is if you have a savings account and you put $100 in, you take $50 out, your new balance is $50, your growth is only going to be on that $50. The way that an IUL works is if you have $100 in your account, you take $50 out, you're actually loaning that $50 out. So when crediting happens, it's still going to credit at the full $100, even though you've taken $50 out of the policy as a loan. Now, there is loan interest and there is some drag on the loan, but you'll see that even with that, the fact that it's still crediting that full amount and gaining growth on that full kind of nest egg, even though loans have been taken out, you'll see that it actually is able to have income for longer and be able to provide a better benefit for the client in that income solve. You will see that at age 89, which is after that 20 years of distributions, there's still $42,000 of death benefit for the client, meaning that even after their income years are done and they're, they pass at that point, there's still a death benefit to pass on, whereas the Roth had already drained itself at 83. And like I said, the reason for that is this is the S&P historical returns. You'll see that overall, lots of green years, but you'll notice that there's a lot of negative years as well, including a couple that almost reached 40%. And it's the fact that this happens that an IUL can be a attractive alternative. When we're talking about that market exposure, if you put your money into a Roth IRA and you get 2 or 3 of those down years in a row, especially at retirement age, that can seriously drain that account. Now, granted, if it's nothing but a bull market for the next 20 years, it's going to outperform an IUL, but how likely is that to happen? Whereas an IUL, you're not going to suffer those huge downsides. You're also not going to get that 20% return on the upside, but you're going to get that stable growth. And when you're talking to clients about what their needs are, you're going to need to talk through kind of what is their long-term growth, what type of exposure do they want to have, are they good with high swings, high lows, do they want more predictable returns, are they able to even to fund a Roth fully? That's where we go to that IUL and really can offer an alternative or a addition to their Roth IRA to allow for more funding dollars for that retirement journey.